Hello and welcome to SNL Sucks, the podcast, the creative critique podcast of Saturday Night Live by a wildly unsuccessful but long-running comedy performer, sketch writer that you've never heard of. I'm Fred Garvin. So, the show opened, hosted by, what's her name? I've forgotten already. We're getting to it. So, it was about the second debate, of course, opening with the political debate, which kind of writes itself, actually. This one was actually, as far as the cold opening, one of my least favorites. And one of my problems I had with it was, I don't know, maybe the laugh track became so evident. You know, it's a live show. You're supposed to get laughs on your own. But I still got that laugh track. And I don't know where the real people come in. I don't know. So the other thing I really kind of didn't like was the Jaws thing and the creepy music. It really took away from it from me. Emily Blunt, that is the host. I don't know, took away from it. And the sweater guy, I've forgotten his name already. They do the dance music and he just kind of poses and I don't know, seemed a little gimmicky, but it was decent, but not one of their better ones. Okay, the opening monologue was next, and I actually like this better than the cold opening, which is a little rare for me. She came out and started with all the bumming out about the election, and it was time to get happy, so she's saying, come on, get happy. Oh, I should mention her best line was actually her first line. You can tell by her accent. She came out, had the British accent. I assume it's British. And said, as you can tell by my accent, I am smarter than you. I actually like that. So she started singing come on, get happy. And I've never understood how English people, when they speak with an accent and they sing without an accent. And this goes back to like the Beatles, Cream. I mean, this goes way back. Stones. I never understood that. Maybe the Rolling Stones because they were listening to Muddy Waters and stuff, but I don't know. Well, maybe she was listening to Adele. I don't know. So they handed out cookies to audience members, a couple puppies, back massage, a cake. Not great for humor, but kind of entertaining. I liked it. Up first sketch was the Escort Sketch. Two of the guys were ordering escorts for the night, prostitutes, not just escorts. And it started off with Emily Blunt and Leslie being the girls. And Leslie said, can I come in? After she was already 2 steps in. So that was always kind of funny. I have a feeling that wasn't intentional. But, you get on stage, you got time restraints. You're going to rush things sometimes. So the twist was they had all these funny prerequisites. Emily had to chug milk. Leslie made him pick a safe word because she was so much bigger, and she was going to ragdoll him like a sneaker in a dryer. Emily had a character she did. It was a terrible, unattractive maid. Kissing was discussed. Leslie had to wear skiing sunglasses the whole time. So it got kind of ridiculous with some funny ground rules, I guess. Then it just kind of ended. And then the guys said, oh well, let's lose our virginity. And then they put the applause sign on, and people applauded, and they showed the long shot of the hotel, and that was it. I think it started off pretty good, but where it failed was, as always, well, two things actually. Where it failed was cue cards, people reading the cue cards, not looking at the character you're talking about, looking at a cue card. But I'm going to have to stop saying that. And the second part was the ending. I'm still going to keep saying that. There was not quite an ending. There was no development. It just kind of, here's the ground rules, here's more ground rules, here's more ground rules. Okay. End of sketch. So I thought about it a little, and initially I was thinking, well, maybe they were somebody famous, maybe they were Donald Trump's kids, which, not really that funny. But what they should have done was turn the tables a little at the outside, on the end. Maybe the guys could have had some ground rules. Or they said, okay, already. Oh, yeah, just one more thing. ... And then the guys describe this weird thing that they have to do. And, maybe at that point, the women go, they're shocked and appalled, and then they go, yeah, that's okay. Or maybe they're appalled and they just leave. Or maybe something else to tie it in. But, and I just thought of that ending in 2 minutes. And that was better than what they had. Up next was kind of a cute little music video. Ivanka, is Amorosa's campaign manager, his wife, doing kind of a cute little song about how he treats them, and them doing a little girl power backlash on him. Smashing his TV, smashing his picture. His Vice President Pence came in there, and then Donald came in and called them to follow him, and they all said, yes, Donald, and left. Now that was an ending. That song had an ending. That was pretty good. That was a good song. I like that. Why can't the sketch have an ending? Up next was a good sketch, actually, at a short film festival. They showed a short film with Emily starring in it, running through woods and falling and seeing herself, etc. And they showed the film, and then the best joke of the thing was when the moderator called up the cast and crew to do a Q&A, everybody in the audience came up except for one woman, which was funny, which was Vanessa. And Vanessa had to think of a question. And they would pass the mic, which was actually very good detail. That was really good. The only problem I had, logically, I think, was that I think Vanessa's questions were too good. I think she could have thought of more just not film people questions, maybe more dumb questions. But on the other hand, she did ask questions that you would hear, so they got to play off those jokes a little bit more. Although she could have asked a dumb question and they could have given the trite film festival answers. So, and at the end they had a nice little diversion when they were going to describe what they were working on, and they all said nothing, except for Emily, who plugged her film. I'm assuming that was her film. So that was a good little sketch. I like it. Up next was Chunk, a commercial for plus-size women, which kind of went good until they gave the name of Chunk, and they said it funny. So this was kind of funny. And then they went to the guys who had no problems finding something in their size, normal size guy place. Yeah, decent little sketch. Maybe a little bit more for the ladies, but to enjoy, I mean. But it was good. And short. Up next was Weekend Update, and they started off with a barrage of Trump jokes. All of them good. You know, I don't know how, if you're a Trump supporter, if you would view this show, if you'd like it, if you turn it off. Maybe they already have. But I'm not, so I thought it was hilarious. They had good jokes throughout. 2 guests. Kate was, I forgot the name of the Russian woman. Some decent jokes. Maybe went a little long. And Vanessa was, I forgot her name too, the little girl who sings show tunes and stuff and says inappropriate things. Kind of funny. So, yeah, good Weekend Update, as always. Up next was finally something I can sink my teeth into. It was a excuse me. That's what bad sketches do to me. A Burger King drive-in where a party limo or bus or whatever pulls up, and kind of a funny joke of they kept having to refer back to the next person in line, so the vehicle pulled up just a little and another window came down, and they just had artsy character after artsy character. More a character-based sketch, I guess. They didn't really know about drive-thrus. They just wanted food, or they weren't impressed. So the end was the person paying, and it was Bruno Mars was hanging with them also. And then the guy got out of the drive-thru and jumped on the bus. So, you know, it's a typical Saturday Night Live sketch. Just kind of possibly somebody just came in with this, you know, I saw these real artsy type people. I didn't really understand them at a Burger King. And what were they doing? They were ordering, but they couldn't understand how, what an onion ring was, or an angry Whopper. So it became hey, that's a sketch. That was kind of funny. And it really wasn't. I think the only funny thing was they kept having to drive up, and another character would slowly roll down a window and then do their shtick, and then the window would roll back up. And I got to give it points. There was a ventriloquist dummy, and that always makes me happy. But other than that, kind of not much of a sketch. Definitely the weakest part of the show so far. Okay, the show really took an upturn. Up next was a short, pre-taped, almost like a mini film. It was a bathroom, and they had one of those gigantic sinks that stand above the counter. And this was kind of a clear, weird design, not uniform in any way, kind of a very trendy thing that you'd see in a nice sushi restaurant or something. And it was talking about itself and like, why am I so big, and why do I it was good. It was a nice little thing. And then somebody came in and washed their hands, and she talked in a gargle. And so the self-reflective sink short film, very good. possibly the best thing in the show. Yes, I'm going to say the best thing in the show. So far. Up next was a Honda robot demonstration at NextCon. Guy kind of described robotics technology, and these two robots came out. Robots. Some people, I think it was Emily and I forgot the other guy's name, who were going to serve some food to the audience, and really not a very complicated sketch. It was just kind of like a scene from a movie, really, where, I was thinking Woody Allen, where the robots misbehave, they break down. There were some funny moments. One of Emily's robot was really, really close to Kate, asking her over and over if she wanted food. That was kind of funny, a little physical. Some good physical comedy, but not much to the sketch. Leslie was the technician who came out and blamed it on somebody having their phone on, not airplane mode, but it was actually her, and then it ended. So at least there was a twist at the end. So, decent, I guess. Up next was a really short Melania moment where she was looking at the maid and noticed that the maid looked just like her. Of course, it was Cecily playing both. And wondered if she could trade places with her because she really wanted to touch sand. That was really it. Not a big joke at the end. Just kind of there. I think with all the writers they have, someone could have came up with a little bit better of a joke, but maybe this is one writer's project and no one else is allowed to help. Up next was a cake bake-off show. This was not good. It was very amateur. I like to think of sketches I really don't like. If it was a sketch that my group would have done, the answer is absolutely not. And other groups I've seen, other groups I respected, would not have done a sketch like this. Groups that I saw, sketch groups that I saw that I did not enjoy the show because it was kind of amateurish and simple, I would have put this in that category. I think there should have been 10 sketches better than this that could have went in the show. I don't know if it's something the host comes up with and they feel like they have to put it in there, or I don't know. Maybe there was some characters. People really love when an English person comes on the show and they get to do English accents. And maybe this was one where they just had to have it in there because the actors really wanted to do the English accents. I don't know. But it didn't belong in the show at all. Up next was the new Hamsters in a Cage sketch. A boy got two new hamsters to join his old hamsters, and they weren't getting along. And then they cut to the cage where the four people dressed like hamsters, the older couple, the newer couple. The older couple drinking martini out of one of those hamster feeder things with the little metal stick at the end that they could lick and the water comes out. That was kind of funny. It was actually, I really wanted to like this. Pretty good concept. I like the costumes and the zooming in on the hamster cage and the commentary of the boy. They said the older woman's not getting along with the ingenue, so kind of funny. The ending was decent. The boy kind of talked like the older couple hamster to his mother, and then she said, "That's it, we're all taking him back." and getting a dog, and he was happy. And then they showed the exterior shot, and the applause sign came on. What was weird about this sketch, I didn't hear any laugh track for the longest time. And then I had to go back and listen. It was really soft. And I think which is proof that they're using a laugh track. They had some incidental music, not incidental, a bed of music, like from those kind of movies. So I think they really mixed down the laugh track. There were joke lines that there was no laugh track on at all. Then later in the sketch it kind of came in. So it was a little odd. It was oddly mixed. So it was kind of a decent sketch. Good characters. So that was the show. Some good stuff, some bad stuff. Overall, above average. I would give Emily a good job at hosting and performing. Bruno Mars, I have no idea. He's probably good. I don't know. I saw a Dennis Rodman jersey, which was weird. So, let's see. For your penance, I'm going to... Saturday Night Live, you have to say 4 Chevy Chases. I'm Fred Garvin. This was the SNL Sucks podcast, October 15th edition, season 42, episode 3. See the other podcasts I've done on SNL Sucks. That's SUCKS, not SUX.com.